it's easy to say if my spouse changes, everything will be fine. But from God's point of view, the two of you are one. So maybe it's not them that needs to change. Maybe it's me. Because as I point one finger at her, three fingers are pointing at me. So,
welcome to Emunah, a space for faith, reflection, and the wisdom that sustains us through every season of life. Marriage is one of God's most beautiful gifts, but it's also one of our greatest classrooms. Loving your spouse isn't something you master once and move on from. It's a daily practice, shaped by grace, humility, patience, and prayer. And the truth is, learning how to love better often comes through real life, through seasons of joy and strain, clarity and confusion, closeness and distance. Today's conversation is about that sacred work of love. I'm honored to be joined today by Melvin and Voncille Greene, hosts of Living a Godly Marriage TV show, a couple whose lives and ministry reflect a deep commitment not just to staying married, but to growing in love and faith together. They share wisdom that's been tested, not theory, but truth forged through time, prayer, and perseverance. Whether you've been married for decades, newly committed, or simply seeking God's wisdom for relationships, this conversation invites us all to reflect on what it really means to love our spouse better, and to do so in a way that honors God. Welcome, Melvin and Voncille.
Thank you.
thank you, Tamara. Now, we know many of you are loving your spouse, but we will provide tips how to love them even better. We've covered these topics on our TV show, and we're going to give you episode numbers so you can watch and learn more of what we taught. Just go to our YouTube page, which is at Melvin Marriage, and type in the episode number, and you'll be able to watch the show. Now, yes, my name is Melvin, but I was in prayer one day, and the Lord reminded me that the two become one. So Melvin is Melvin. So we'll go ahead and get started and provide these tips that you need to love your spouse better.
So it's important to grow spiritually. And we'd like to think of it as a triangle. So the husband and wife are at the bottom. Christ is at the top. And as we go closer to Christ at the top, you'll notice as you go up the triangle, we're going closer together as well.
Yes, closer together and closer to Christ.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
So there are two parts to growing spiritually. First, the husband and wife grow independently by praying and being still with God and by reading and studying your Bible. Now, for me personally, I like my quiet time in the morning, so I like to do my devotion alone. And then Mel and I will come together and do our devotions together. And that works for both of us.
Yes, yes.
Secondly, you should grow spiritually together. And ways you can do this are attend church together on a regular basis. Pray with and for each other. Read or listen to the Bible together, such as the chapter of Proverbs that corresponds with the date of the month. You can also serve in a ministry together. For example, Mel and I serve in the Preparing for God's Way ministry. We used to at our
Mm-hmm.
former church.
Mm-hmm.
And also you can join a couples ministry,
Yes.
or
Yes.
you can watch episode 20 on our YouTube page, Living a Godly Marriage.
Thank
Okay.
you, Voncille.
You're welcome.
Now, the second is make your marriage a priority. Remember, Jesus said the greatest commandment was to love God, but then he said, and also love your neighbor, and your spouse is your closest neighbor. So be more intentional in spending time with your spouse, spending more time with your spouse instead of with the children, with the job, with friends, with a hobby, or even a ministry. Yes, ministry, because we like to say, but ministry begins at home. Also, the Bible tells us not to leave your first love, but we like to say, don't leave your second love either. And that person is your spouse.
Right.
Mm.
We have more information on this in episode 5 on our YouTube page.
And so love your spouse the way they prefer to be loved. Have you ever shown love to your spouse, but it seemed not to please them? Maybe you're not speaking their love language and don't know how to fill their love tank.
And everybody has a love tank.
Yes, we do. I know I have one. We did a series on the 5 love languages, including an interview with the author, Dr. Gary Chapman. This is a very important tool, and we highly recommend watching episodes 38 through 44 on our YouTube channel.
Yes, yes. Number 4, apologize to your spouse the way they prefer and forgive them when they apologize. Have you ever had your spouse apologize to you, but you wanted to hear more from them? Maybe they weren't speaking your apology language. We interviewed Dr. Jennifer Thomas, author of the book with Dr. Gary Chapman, The 5 Apology Languages. And we've got more information on that on episode 45 on our YouTube channel. The Bible also says in Colossians 3:13, bearing with one another and forgiving one another if anyone has a complaint against another. Even as Christ forgave you, so you also must do. Now, what does it mean by forgiving? Well, you don't bring it up to the person again. If you forgave them, you don't do that. You also don't tell others about what your spouse did or what they said. And you don't second guess forgiving them. Forgiving them is like wiping the slate clean.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to learn more about forgiveness and also learn more about the apology languages, you can watch episode 18 at our webpage.
Also, improve your communication skills. Communication is the lifeblood of marriage. Remember, the goal of communication is not to be understood, but to understand your spouse. And my husband has said to me often, I cannot read your mind. So you have to be clear in your communication with your husband.
And we've been married 14 years, and I still haven't improved my mind reading skills.
But I am a great writer. So write it down if you feel that you can't verbally express to your husband what's on your mind. It's okay to write it down. Send it to him in an email, and you can connect more. You should connect more than correct.
Oh, connecting. That's
It's
really, really
better
important.
than correcting, and compliment more than criticize. Make more deposits than withdrawals in your spouse's emotional bank account. We all have an emotional bank account. So you have to have a positive balance, just as you do your checking account or savings.
Yeah.
You want to keep a positive balance.
Yeah, let's pause there for a moment, Voncille, because you have an emotional bank account. I have an emotional bank account. And how can I make deposits into your account?
Well, I love when you compliment me and
Compliments,
yes, I
definitely.
love that. Words of affirmation, that's my primary love language.
Right. So once you learn the love language, you'll know that's the way that your spouse prefers to be loved. And so then you can make, and those are big deposits.
Yes.
When you do those. I know my wife was saying that mine is words of affirmation and hers is physical touch.
Yes.
So if I'm downstairs and she's upstairs, she comes down the stairs and I say, no, you can't go by till I hug you. You got to pay your hug toll.
Have to pay the hug toll. And I do so gladly.
Right, because physical touch is her love language.
And that doesn't mean that I want everyone touching me. It doesn't mean as much to me when other people touch me. But when he touches me, it means a lot.
Yes.
It goes a long way.
Yes. So that's so important. Also,
let me interrupt right quick. So you guys, it's really nice hearing the tips we've gone through. How many tips?
we're still on 5. We're almost finished 5.
Okay. And it sounds, the way you guys are delivering it, it sounds simple, right? It sounds easy.
Well, simple, but not easy.
How did you guys come up with this? I mean, this is something that you guys have developed over time, not only just in marriage and experiences, but also to prepare for your TV show, right? Right. And so if you were to prioritize those first 5, how would you prioritize it? Or is there just one simple model that you have that is carried, that those 5 points are carried in?
Well, I'm sorry, but did you?
Oh, well, one thing we do, we go to a lot of seminars on marriage. And of course, we mentioned before that we go every year on the Love Like You Mean It marriage cruise. And on one of those cruises, we met a gentleman by the name of Dr. Gary Chapman, who wrote the 5 love languages. We recommend that book highly. We use it. We've actually met him and interviewed him on our show, as a matter of fact. Right. So if you go to our YouTube page, you can find that episode where he talks about the 5 love languages and how he developed it.
Yeah, and it's just a tool. But what's important is in any of these tips that we're providing is you have to be intentional. You have to say, I'm going to try, even if you say, I'm going to try this and see what happens, it makes a difference.
It does.
For example, if you're on a job and you're having challenges with your supervisor, one of the things I learned years ago from a mentor was to try a different approach or to be more
intentional.
In other words, be willing to try your approach, or as Dr. Phil likes to say, how's that working out for you? Well, if it's not working out, be willing to try something different. And I think, Tamara, it's important. Sometimes we can even pray, Lord, help me to be willing. He'll meet you where you are. And so it's easy to say, if my spouse changes, everything will be fine. But from God's point of view, the two of you are one. So maybe it's not them that needs to change. Maybe it's me. Because as I point one finger at her, 3 fingers are pointing at me. So that's important. You have a choice. You can stay the same and keep going around in circles with the same disagreements, the same results, or you can say, I'm going to try something different and, see what happens.
And if I could tell a personal story, when I was growing up, we had to go to church. It wasn't a choice. And when I turned a certain age, I thought I was grown, so I quit going to church. And my mother questioned me about it. I said to her, I quit going because all the hypocrites sit on the front row. And what she said to me, then that's where you should be. And so what she was saying, you need to take a look at yourself and see what's going on with you.
Right.
Because you're not
So it's
perfect.
more self-analyzing when
Right.
you're, which is kind of hard to do, especially if you kind of perfect,
And we are. We're perfectly imperfect.
Because to be honest with you, when you said, you all wanted to talk about how to love your spouse better, I was thinking, I've been married 45 years. I'm thinking, I'm giving it all I got. What else can they tell me? But these are some really helpful tips. When you talk about let me ask you this. What are some small, often overlooked ways spouses can show love more intentionally?
That's a good
Especially
question.
after years together.
Well, after a few years, you know each other. You know your hot buttons.
Yes.
But you should also know what pleases them.
Right.
Let me give you just a simple example. Voncille likes her cup of coffee in the morning, and I learned that she likes a little bit of candy with her coffee. So
Not him, but candy.
So initially, I won't bring her little Reese's cup to her or candy to her. But when the cup gets like halfway empty, I don't do it every day. But I mean, but that's because I'm intentionally trying to please her.
Wow.
And that pleases me.
Wow.
And that's what the Lord wants us to do. But it begins with a mindset that you want to please your spouse.
Yeah.
And if you ask God, because in James it says that if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God and he will give it to you. So I ask God, well, what can I do, Lord? And he reminds me, it gives me ideas. For example, I know the physical touch is her love language. So, the hug toll was one thing. And, I'm willing to keep going back to the Lord and say, okay, what else can I do?
Yes.
And so what spiritual disciplines have been most important in shaping your marriage? You've mentioned some of the points, but if you were to say what's the most important spiritual discipline, prayer, scripture, worship, fasting, whatever.
Well, a couple of things. Well, first, let me say a few years ago, I think we were married about 3 years, and Voncille had a heart-to-heart with me, and she was saying, I married a Christian husband, but in essence, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. We don't pray together.
Wow.
We don't read the Bible together. And, I heard not just the words, but I heard her heart.
Yes.
And, but then I asked an important question. Well, what do you want me to do? Where can we start? And I remember we went online and started reading daily our daily bread. And I mean, that was the start. That's where I was. And now we read, like we did this morning, the chapter of Proverbs that corresponds to the date of the on the calendar. So we read the 3rd this morning.
Yes.
And also we like to read Psalms. But you know what? What's been a blessing as well? We like to read marriage articles and discuss them, and even a book. And it doesn't have to be a marriage book. We're reading now The Promise of Heaven by Dr. David Jeremiah. And I tell you wow, that's really great to read. So there are a lot of things you can do. But again, Tamara, it's just a mindset of viewing that you are a team. You are a couple, that God has put together. I like to say Voncille is God's gift to me that keeps on giving.
Yes.
Okay. But the reality is sometimes that gift can, people can think that gift is like getting a kid getting clothes for Christmas. And that's the last box they want to open or go back to. So you got to be intentional to
Yeah.
keep growing and developing.
So could
Yeah.
I say one thing in your defense? One thing I like to do in the morning, I like it quiet. I don't like I'm like swing slow, sweet cherry. And he's like the hills are alive, the sound of music kind of person in the morning. So at the beginning of our marriage, he would give me my time to do my devotion for my, alone.
Mhm.
That's what he was doing. But I didn't realize that's what he was doing. Allow me to have my quiet time with the Lord.
Right.
And then we would come together and
And
have devotions together.
So one other thing is pray for your spouse and pray with your spouse.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be every day, but set a goal maybe 3 or 4 times a week. And it doesn't have to be long, but God will honor that. That's a time where not just the two of you, but God comes back and he honors that. He's a rewarder of those who diligently seek him.
And God showed me how I can love my husband today or my wife today. What can I do for my spouse today to show him or her that I love him or her?
One last question, then I'll let you get back to your list. How do you balance grace and accountability when your spouse falls short?
Okay, well, when they fall short, I love that you said grace because that's important. No one's perfect. We all make mistakes, I like to say. Mistakes and mistakes. And so you do have to give them grace.
Yes.
As I read earlier from Colossians, we need to forgive as Christ has forgiven us. So we need to extend grace to our spouse, just as God has extended grace to us. And that's so important. So, give your spouse the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
Maybe they had a bad hair day or let's
Are you
say
trying to tell me something?
got up on the wrong side of the bed. I mean, give them a break. And not only that, but when you see him or her like that, that means you as a team, you need to encourage and strengthen them. They need you at that point.
Yes. Well,
Mhm.
if I may be transparent, I think I've talked about this on our show before. This is my second marriage. And in my first marriage, I was not a very forgiving person. I would just drag and not forgive and hold on to it. And that's one thing I've said before on our show, that I've learned a lot from my husband about forgiving, not just forgiving, but forgetting and moving on.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that, dear, because I've been married before as well. And when we went through premarital counseling, we decided we were going to follow God's plans. That
do things
we
different.
tried our own, it didn't work. So
Things different.
we were willing to try. It's okay, let's see what God has to say. And that's been our focus. And God has honored his word and he has blessed us. But it's a never-ending journey. We continue, iron sharpens iron.
Right.
And it's harder when it comes from your spouse.
Okay. And so now we're on 6?
Well, we were
Finish
still
5?
on, not quite. Go ahead, honey.
So also learn to listen more, talk less, repeat back what the person that you're talking. If I'm talking to my husband, he should repeat back to me what I've said to him to make
Right.
sure he understands.
Yes,
What
that's the goal, is
I'm
understanding.
trying to communicate to him.
Mhm.
So it's important to repeat it back. So what I heard you saying is, I want you to take me out on more dates. Or I want you to hug me tighter at night, hold me closer,
Right,
for
right,
example, right? Since that's my love language.
right. And also, when communicating, seek to identify not just the issue, but how your spouse is feeling.
That's it.
Because how they're feeling can be more important than the issue. So don't get defensive. Don't try to fix the problem. Usually men will try to fix it. We're wired that way. But instead, listen, be empathetic and understanding of how they are feeling. And also, I would say, instead of telling your spouse what to do, ask them for a favor to help you or ask for their cooperation. Okay. I can tell a quick funny story about that. Voncille has a few clothes and she has a busy closet.
A few clothes.
And every Saturday night and Sunday, okay, what are you wearing today? And she would go in and flip through. And so that approach was not working because what would happen, we'd be rushing for church and sometimes late. So again, in prayer, I got to change my approach. So I asked her, I said, honey, can I help you organize your closet? And we can do it together. And so that started the conversation. Well, how do you want to organize it? Well, how about fall and winter clothes versus spring and summer clothes? And she said, yeah, that's good. We can put the spring and summer ones in another closet. I said, yeah, that's good. And
depending on the season.
And then she said, well, what else could we do? I said, well, how about colors? Why don't I arrange them by color of clothes? And so we did that for the tops and for the pants. And so now what used to take a little more time, I just say, honey, what color do you want to wear? And then I'll bring out the tops. Which one do you want? And then she'll look at the pants and, okay, pick out the one you want. Okay.
It's very helpful to me.
Right. Now, the other part of that story is everything has a place, everything in its place. So when you get back from church and you change your clothes, put them back where they belong.
He does the laundry, and he doesn't like it when I put my clothes in the laundry bag because it makes work for him.
Instead of hanging them up. I wore them once. Let me just put, just being honest with you. But it's fun. But notice, instead of complaining, I said, well, let's work together to solve the problem.
And you're really good that way.
Yeah. So a different approach.
Yeah.
That's good advice. Okay.
Okay. So that really concludes the first 5. And again, episode 10 on our YouTube page, we talked about that in that episode. You want us to go on?
Go on.
Okay, number 6, improve your conflict resolution skills. Whoa. I mean, you're always going to have disagreements. You won't see eye to eye. But when you have those, approach it trying to find a win-win solution. Okay, instead of approaching it like win-lose, let's try to find a solution that we both can be happy with, or at least maybe we don't get everything, but we both get something that we can like.
For example, he loves shoot 'em up movies, I'll say. I don't know how.
Right,
And
science fiction.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of them, but I will go with him, but he has to take me to dinner. So afterwards.
Yeah, that's
that
a
sounds
good
like
compromise. Right. And we just learned about this, but learn about your conflict management style. How do you normally handle conflict? And that's something that could go all the way back to your childhood and how you saw your parents resolve disagreements, or it could be part of your personality. But that's important to learn a little bit about your conflict management style and also how to set boundaries. And the boundary is not just a limit for your spouse, it's also a limit for you. Okay.
And so you're basically submitting your marriage to God, and that has helped
godly principles.
Yeah.
Right. And we jokingly like to say, remember the two hardest words in marriage are I'm sorry.
Wow.
The hardest three words are I was wrong.
Yes.
But there are two hardest four words, and that is will you forgive me and I will forgive you. It's
Okay.
so hard to say those words, the 2, the 3, and the 4. And so thinking about that, when was the last time you heard your spouse say those words? I was wrong. I'm sorry. Will you forgive me? And I will forgive you. But more importantly,
When was the last time you said them?
you said them to your spouse.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
you can actually learn more about this on our YouTube
YouTube
channel,
page.
episodes 24 through 27.
Okay, so those conflict management skills are so important.
Yes. And so you want to get on the same, this is number 7, get on the same page financially.
That's
So
a tough one.
Yeah.
it is a tough one. And before Mel and I got married, I had my own bank account. Whoever's the better manager of money should be the person to manage the finances. I was not great at managing, to be honest and transparent. And he's great. And so that was one of the difficult things for me was to,
Relinquish or
yeah,
yeah,
right. And to, let
right.
you handle all the finances. But we have a joint account where we pay all the household bills out of that account. And then we also have our separate accounts that we can do with whatever we want.
Yeah, I
But
can surprise her with the
yes,
gift.
if I want to, and if I want to surprise you. But the thing is, he has access to my private account, and I have access to his as well.
That's so true. That's so true. So
So that's okay.
right.
So if I want to buy
Mm,
something special for him as a surprise, I can do that, and I will have to consult him and ask him for money
yeah.
to get whatever I want to buy for him. And the same is true for him.
It's interesting. That was one thing, James, I never had to worry about. I do not like dealing with any finances, money or anything. Just tell me where the account is and I'll just use it and so that
Right.
is he's having that oneness. And so often I see couples, that's the one area where there's no oneness.
Yes.
Right.
He has his and she has hers. Everything we do is ours. That's just the way we look at it.
Right.
Yeah.
And remember, God's plan is for the two to become
The
one.
one.
But guess what Satan's plan is? For
Right.
the one to become two.
Yes.
So any way he can get you operating individually and not together, that's falling right into his hands.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. So that's why you should also
It's important to set financial goals together to get out of debt, save money for an emergency or whatever might come up.
right.
Yes.
And also, together develop and follow a budget, which basically is a spending and savings plan. And that should include, individual, I don't want to call it allowances, but spending money for each of you.
Yes.
But getting on the same page is so important. For example, if you're saving for a home or a vacation, you got to work those short-term savings, you got to work together on that, or long-term savings.
If you have children, you might want to save for their college
or investing.
or well, they could do scholarships to get.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why it's important for them to have great grades.
Right. And you know what's, Tamara, what's happening a lot today is blended families. And I tell you, that can really complicate financial issues. Even even in our case as a blended family, I knew we should do it. We talked about it, but it took over a year for us to update, the wills and trusts.
For you.
I mean, we knew we need to do it, but it was just because being a blended family, and it was just challenging, being honest, and we had to, and that raises another point. If you like I tell supervisors, you got to know what you don't know and get help. If you're trying to handle an HR issue and you need human resources, call them. Don't try to figure out how to deal with that employee yourself. Call and not only by calling, but first you got to admit that you don't know what you're doing. And that's how it is in marriage sometimes. The problem gets bigger than the two of us can handle, and we don't, even the Lord can try to be reaching us and we don't know. Well, it's okay to get counseling. It's okay to go and get help. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Okay.
And if I could say one more thing about finances, the person who's better at managing finances should be the person who managed the finances.
Right.
In our marriage, I know it wasn't me.
Right.
You're much better.
So we and one other thing which is really important too. I mentioned wills and trusts, but your exit planning. You got to have that in place as well. Otherwise, your spouse wonders, what to do, and they're very vulnerable to make decisions, that are not best. So, have those plans in place. So we talked with a financial coach, and on our YouTube page, that's episodes 7, 19, and 51, because finances is a big issue.
And she's great.
Yeah. Now here's what I call sort of the secret sauce or secret ingredient in marriage, and that is, and we just focused on this the past year. Have fun together. Okay. Do you ever feel like your marriage is in a rut? Both of you are busy. You don't have time, or you're too tired to spend time with each other. Well, as a result, the romance starts to fade, and so does the friendship.
And if I may just jump in, according to the Old Farmer's Almanac, it talks about the best way to kill a frog. So you put the frog in cold water and you gradually warm the water up. And before the frog realizes that the water is hot, it's too late for him to jump out.
Yeah. And that's what the devil will do if
with
you,
a marriage.
with a marriage.
Get too complacent in your marriage.
Right.
Yes.
So we like to say, remember when you were dating, you were boyfriend and girlfriend, but after marriage, you have to continue to nurture that friendship. And one way of doing this, and is to rekindle the marriage, rekindle the romance by having fun together. Just a 3-letter word, have fun. And so continuing doing activities you both enjoy, just like you did when you were dating. What did you do when you were dating? Did you go to concerts, restaurants? Did you play cards, board games? Just taking walks together, spending time with friends? Well, how much are you doing that now? Are you still friends? Okay. Or are you more like roommates? Whoa.
Yes.
So another fun activity is make a photo book of your favorite pictures as a couple through the years, or pictures of your relationship over time. Here's pictures when we first met each other, started dating, and now, and see the growth. You could put puzzles together, walk together,
fun.
watch old TV shows or movies. There's a lot of things you can do. And so we had a whole series on how to have fun in marriage. And on our YouTube page, that's episodes 47 through 51. But we like to say that's a big secret, because how many people have we talked with where then they're no longer boyfriend and girlfriend?
I'm sorry, honey, but if I could just jump in here, and you don't have to spend a lot of money to have fun. I love playing cards with him, especially when I beat him. And he doesn't like it, but that's okay. And I don't like to lose either. So But what gets me, he glows when he knows. It drives me.
Well, it's rare.
That's amazing.
So, but
So-
yeah, so they're having fun, and also just a couple others. You can take the fun up to another level.
Mhm.
And how you do that, honey?
Well, are you talking about the romance and intimacy?
Yes.
Yeah, pursue romance and intimacy. Continue to pursue your spouse like you did when you were dating.
Mm-hmm.
And don't ever stop dating your spouse. And I love it when he takes me out on a date, but he has to ask me still to take.
Okay.
And so you should have date nights at least twice a month. I think that's reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
And he still surprises me on with date nights. I love that.
All I say is, honey, we're going out Friday at 7:00, and here's how to dress. And she'll say, "Where are we going?" It's a surprise.
I love it. And he's great at surprise dates. I love it.
And I did that. I've been doing that since we initially started dating.
Yes.
Okay. And I mean, who doesn't like a surprise? And most of the time, 90% has been positive.
And not just
But
dating.
But here's another one that you can do.
Keep flirting with each other. Don't stop flirting.
Yes, yes. In fact, develop and listen to a playlist of your favorite love songs.
Yes.
Whoa. You remember sometimes when you were dating, you used to love listening to music. Yep, yep. And that could lead to a good evening.
Yes.
But remember, the goal of intimacy is for both of you to be satisfied.
Yes.
So learn about your spouse's preferences.
Mhm.
Be willing to go outside your comfort zone and try something new and different.
And what I'd like to say is I'm not going to hang from the chandelier. So that would be far outside my comfort zone.
But remember,
you have 5 senses. For example, buy your spouse's.
oh, yes, yes. We got to tell this story.
Yeah.
What did we do recently? We went to Macy's.
Yes. Excuse me. And we each picked out colognes that I like for him to wear and perfume that he likes.
And perfumes that she likes. So what did you do with Macy's?
So I picked out cologne that I like for him, and he picked out
Perfumes that I like for her.
Oh,
Okay. And what was amazing, I mean, we had about 3 or 4 people come over when we said what we were trying to do. We had like 3 or 4 people come over. Oh, that's great. Why did you? And they gave us all these samples. I said, oh my gosh,
Yes.
And I said, and that's a nice way of sending a signal to each other if you need to do that, So,
We'll just keep it there.
right. And also, this is an interesting one that we've had to learn at one point, which was to upgrade our sleepwear.
Right. Yes.
Husbands, if you wearing them same pajamas for 10 years, maybe it's time.
And wives, if you're wearing that raggedy T-shirt, that's not going to appeal to him. So, think about those things. It's something simple you can do.
Right. Now, yeah, that's so true. Now, this is an important point too when you talk about intimacy. Your spouse's preferences can change with age or with health. With health, so be willing to make adjustments or sacrifices. Yes, remember this is a marathon. It's not a sprint, so things will change. Or twice a year, take a getaway vacation or a staycation at a local hotel.
Yeah.
I mean, just change the scenery a little bit.
Yeah.
So anyway, we did a 5-part series on how to have fun in marriage, and that's on our webpage on episodes 31 through 35. And so the last one, Tamara, is to grow as a team. We've talked a little bit about that. But remember, team is an acronym for together each accomplishes more. So we talked about using each other's strength to function better as a team. We talked about one of you manage to finance better. Let that person manage to finance better. Make big decisions together.
Don't go out and buy a Mercedes and bring it home and say, honey, look what I bought you today. So,
Yeah, make big decisions together, complement each other instead of competing against each other.
and people may be surprised.
We've seen that happen.
We've seen
Yes.
Mhm. Yeah. Dream together. For example, one of the things we did is we made a travel bucket list, and we've gone to about 8 of the 10 places since we did that. And also help each other pursue individual dreams. That's so important. And we've learned to do things together, like cooking.
I'm laughing because he doesn't like to cook at all.
Well, we've learned to do things together, so I will help you in the
Yes.
kitchen.
From afar.
But cooking, cleaning together, cleaning out the storage areas for a garage sale.
Yeah.
I mean, just doing things together. Fellowship with other couples, spend time with other couples.
That's good.
Take a marriage class together or read and discuss a marriage book or articles, crossway.com, family life, crosswalk.com, and familylife.com. And remember, teamwork makes the dream work. Definitely.
And so we're sure if you consistently follow these tips to love your spouse better, you will have a better marriage.
Mm-hmm.
This godly example will also be seen by others and could open the door for you to witness.
Yes, which is what we're trying to do is remember. And remember, our YouTube page is at Melvin Marriage. And as we like to say, the closest thing to heaven on earth is a good marriage. But the closest thing to hell on earth is a bad marriage. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, is there a scripture that has anchored your marriage through the years?
In Ephesians, where that whole 5th chapter, but the key is telling husbands to love their wives as Christ loves the church. So that means sacrifice. You mentioned earlier about daily living. Daily, husbands may have to make sacrifices, what they want versus what their spouse wants. But God will honor that.
Yeah, and for wives, it's important to husbands that you respect.
You must respect your...
That is very important to the husband.
And you say, well, how do I show respect to my husband? Easy. Ask them.
That's a good point.
How do I love my wife as Christ loved the church? Easy. Ask her. She'll have some ideas.
Lots of them.
So yes, I think that's Ephesians 5, 30 or 31. But that whole section there outlines responsibilities of the husband and of the wife. Those are his blueprints.
Yes.
Yeah, those are his blueprints. We have the God is the architect.
Jesus is.
The Holy Spirit is the foreman, which points you back to the architect and the blueprints. And Jesus must be the cornerstone, the foundation of your marriage.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Greens. Emunah listeners, the Greens are old friends with Emunah for the past 2 Februaries, and this February included. They have shared their wisdom and insight on marriage from serving God as a couple on February 8th, 2024, to improving your marriage with the Greens on February 27th, 2025. You all have forgotten about those episodes, huh? As we close this conversation, we're reminded that loving your spouse better isn't about perfection. It's about presence. It's about choosing grace when it's easier to withdraw. Choosing humility when pride feels justified. And choosing love even when love requires sacrifice. Melvin and Voncille Greene have shown us that a godly marriage is not built in a single moment, but over a lifetime of faithful choices, anchored in prayer, sustained by forgiveness, and strengthened by hope in God. If today's episode stirred something in you, encouragement, conviction, or even questions, take that to God. Talk with your spouse as they're suggesting. Pray together as they've already said. Begin again if you must. God is always in the work of renewal. Thank you for spending this time with us on Emunah. If this episode blessed you, share it with someone who could use a word of encouragement today. And as always, may your faith deepen, your love grow stronger, and your life be shaped by the quiet power of faithful belief. Until next time, walk in grace and keep the faith.
Amen.
Did you know you could support this show by downloading and becoming a member of the Alive Podcast Network app? You'll experience unlimited access to Black hosted content, and we'll be able to keep bringing you amazing content week after week.